just say I'm pissed off, Angelo. I'm pissed off.
There's not a... Will me to shut up and let me answer?
I was trying. I ain't putting coffee. I didn't put
I'm calling both games.
Slavery is illegal in most of the world, but don't tell that to Alvin Kamara. To him, the Minnesota Vikings defense is under his sole ownership. It's a lot like Alexander the Great in his conquest of the Middle East and India. It is convincing and awe-inspiring. This man is single-handedly carrying the New Orleans offense. Jesus Christ is withered to throwing soft cookies like all quarterbacks in their twilight. Doesn't matter to Alvin. He will load him on his back and make the offense hum all by himself. It would also help if the Vikings managed to learn how to tackle, but baby steps. The Saints put up 52 points against an allegedly stout defense by past reputation. Alvin Kamara had as many touchdowns as Minnesota has wins on the season, tying the league record for most in a game. It's good enough to grant the Saints the bounty of the NFC South as was written. Oh, I almost forgot about Minnesota, and most of their fan base wishes I did. When you think they're going to break through and do something, they buckle and implode. This year is no different.
Are you kidding me?
Detroit, you know this music all too well. It's the perennial death march to the mass grave of irrelevance. Ironically, most of those buried here happen to be your past seasons. Yes, I get most of their coaching staff was quarantined due to Corona-chan, but this is a team that has outright given up on life. The Buccaneers had no resistance in the onslaught. The passing game? Free goddamn real estate. This gets even worse as Detroit loses the last shred of hope they somehow had. Matt Stafford was knocked out of the game early due to injury. This might have been his last game as a Lion, and the apathetic play continued all game long. Even Blaine Gabbert, who was put in the game later, looked like a world beater. This is as close to rock bottom as a team gets. Again, for Tampa Bay though, they don't care. They want the league to know they are back, and with a decisive victory like this, the world is theirs. The longest playoff drought in the NFC is over. The Buccaneers earn a golden ticket. Oh, Tampa, could you please spare some of your offense for the poor Cardinals? They can't stop running themselves over when they have the opportunity to potentially seal up a playoff spot. And even worse, it's against a San Francisco team that's down to their third-string QB, third-string running back, second-string receivers, scout team defense, and backup stadium. Consistency has been a major issue for Arizona, and it was shown on full display here. The offense stalled out far more than they allegedly should. They should perhaps recall it due to faulty hardware. The defense was burned by the likes of Jeff Wilson Jr., just like last season if you recall. When the team couldn't get anything done, they constantly had to go for it on fourth down. It was Russian roulette. After a while, you'll eventually find the bullet. It goes right in their head. And this is with Robbie Gould trying to sabotage his own efforts. The Cardinals lose a crucial game in the hunt. Now the Windy City gets their worst-case scenario. It might be Arizona's as well. Here we see two teams in different aspects of the playoff sphere. Miami is in a surprising swoon and has a chance to potentially solidify a spot with a win here. Las Vegas dug their own grave and is on the brink of being shoved into it. Unlike the stakes, the game starts off as very unassuming. Both teams trying to feel the other out, spot potential weaknesses like the snake eyeing up her prey. It's relatively competitive. The score is close, quick strikes being traded as neither team wants to give up the killing blow. As we head to the fourth quarter, things are quiet. Too quiet. The Raiders can't convert a third down to save their lives. Tua is not leading the offense to where they should be, so Flores calls for his star closer, Fitzception. Father Christmas himself on his merry sleigh delivers a present to the Miami faithful, a productive offense. It's not enough to get 6, but they do tie the game up again. But those pesky Raiders have an answer for that, and his name is Aguilar. Philadelphia cries in agony at this sudden discovery of hands. But on the sidelines, Fitzception gives Myles Gaskin the gift of rich oils to cover his body with. Look at how he gallops as the Raiders fail to take him down. His Majesty, thanks to a missed extra point, gives Miami the lead. Vegas, though, they've made a few bribes. This is pass interference these days? Good to see nobody can defend anymore. Throughout Baltimore, anuses are clenched. They need the Raiders to win this game. So far, things are looking up, but John Gruden believes in the spirit of the renegade. He doesn't care for the old-school approach. He scoffs at new age analytics. He does neither. They down the ball at the 1-yard line, burn clock, and take a knee to kick the field goal with 20 seconds left. Interesting choice. If only your defense wasn't such ass, John.
See if Fitzpatrick can pull a trick out. He got hit as he lofted it up. Blown coverage!
Greatest gift of them all. A glorious miracle pass to set the Dolphins up for a stunning win. With the defender tearing his face mask off, Fitzception chucks a magical dart into the heart of Baltimore. The Raiders having no fucking defense whatsoever. What the fuck did you blow this, Vegas? I want to hear nothing about how you're contenders again after this shit. Get the fuck out. And don't come back until you apologize to us all about that terrible defense you have. It appears that the Ravens will have to take matters into their own hands. They have been let down by those they have counted on. Now there's some steam to blow off. Ah, the New York Giants. How convenient of you to walk into them today. Let's just warm them up a little bit, take them into an alleyway, and beat the ever-loving shit out of them. They were robbed of money, personal possessions, offensive prowess, and pride. Daniel Jones started again, but it didn't help. He still couldn't get momentum, and his receivers dropped everything. After Lamar took that massive shit in the Browns game, he has been refreshed. He's back to MVP form and eager to redeem a Baltimore season that was once on the brink. They needed this one again, and now they have Cincinnati on the road. You remember the last time they played Cincy in a crucial game, right?
Caught by Boyd! Tyler Boyd! Touchdown!
The Jaguars know the true prize at stake today. Why else would they be starting Mike Glennon in a grudge match against his old team and the Bears? Did you know a team paid this man $15 million a year to play quarterback? I know, crazy to think. In this regard, Jacksonville accomplished their end of the goal. They trade a precious loss in the Great Tank for a free win to get Chicago into a playoff spot. This is literally the worst thing that could have happened for the Bears. They have significant flaws, yet will probably drunkenly stumble their way into the postseason. There are already talks of the Bears fucking extending Trubisky for playing against some of the worst defenses in football. Pace Nagy and Ted Phillips might be staying put for beating Houston, the Vikings, and fucking Jacksonville. Long live the McCaskies. The rest of the NFC North cackles in delight. The Lawrence of Arabia crusades may be lost for these two teams, but there are many prizes that can be claimed in the secondary escapades. We know damn well this is a tank bowl. Cincinnati has little to gain from winning as they desperately need offensive line help for a certain somebody that's rehabbing an injury. Houston has little to gain from losing since the wonders of Butchin has them giving their first 2 picks in this draft away. It is with my most unfortunate update that the Bengals received great motivation from humiliating the Steelers last week. Brandon Allen is back at starter, which is a curious move, but he proved his coach's loyalty correct today. He looked like Burrow at his peak. And that probably has more to do with the Texans' horrible defense, but it's at least a fun game to watch. David Johnson is back to 2016 form, which makes Bill O'Brien happy as it pretends to justify the Hopkins trade for a day. They're trading blows throughout the game as the lead is grabbed in a zero-gravity chamber. Who will hold on? Who will strive for a win here today? Cincinnati. Their grasp on Penei Sewell slowly fades away, robbing them of a premium offensive lineman. The real winner? Miami. Their picks in the Tunsil trade get even better from this loss. And against Tennessee next week, they may end up getting Sewell in the end. Ironic, isn't it? What the fuck is up with Kansas City's offenses of late? More often than not, they just keep self-destructing whenever they get a sliver of a chance. I don't get it. They've won ugly as hell more often than not, yet no one seems to be concerned. The Chiefs' biggest enemy is themselves. And it shows against the Falcons. This game shouldn't even be close, yet they keep giving Atlanta opportunity after opportunity. Chintzy play calls on 4th and 1, inconsistency in the passing game, endlessly stalling out on drives. Thankfully, the Falcons aren't doing much of anything with these opportunities thanks to stout defense, but they still have a 4-point lead. Here is where the offense bothers to show up. Hey, finally, it's about fucking time you did something. Thank AJ Terrell for dropping this easy pick as well. So Kansas City has the lead, and oh, look at that, Atlanta's offense woke up too. Here's the field goal range and another ugly win in OT.
And Koo is up, and he is no good!
But Falconing won out in the end. You may consider this another epic joke, but Youngway had Atlanta's best interests in mind. His miss allows the Falcons to hold the 3rd overall pick in the draft for the time being. He's the wisest mind in that organization right now. Make him the GM. And then blow it all to fucking hell and back. You saw Denver without a quarterback. You saw the Giants without a play caller. You saw the Ravens without a team. But now we get a new participant in the COVID sweepstakes. The Browns are now down a majority of their wide receivers due to contact tracing. Thank God they're playing the Jets. As long as the team doesn't do anything stupid, they should win this... Browns? What the hell are you doing? You have two of the best running backs in the game. Why are you trying to get too cute with the play calling? Baker throwing over 50 times without most pass-catching targets? I know the Jets can zone in on the run, but it's the fucking Jets, man! We're not dealing with an elite core! What the fuck happened? Even the defense is getting iffy and can't hold against them. Parkey is still doinking. The Jets are leading again. In a game Cleveland kinda needs to win. They're at least coming back, but this is deeply disturbing to see. Hasn't this fan base suffered enough?
Mayfield on the move. Franklin Myers on the side. The ball is loose and rolls. Looks like it's recovered by the Jets.
I guess not. Cleveland now gets misery and doubts facing Pittsburgh next week. The Jets, however, are the biggest losers. Thanks to these meaningless wins the past few weeks, they lose out on Trevor Lawrence. Jacksonville, congratulations! You are the official winners of the 2020 Tank Bowl! All it took was 14 straight losses and the greatest QB prospect since luck is yours. Now don't ruin him, or else I will hunt you all down. I mean it too. It appears the Steelers have learned absolutely nothing from last week's humiliating loss. They've not only come out flat on offense, they've become a liability. Pass heavy with quarterback inaccuracy and receivers dropping everything isn't a good formula. And even worse, the Colts are hungry to win to keep pace with the Titans. It shows with their first half performance. It's getting ugly as hell and miserable quickly. This team went 11-0. Really? They're down 17 against a team showing no signs of holding up. What the hell happens here? The Steelers somehow find a worn down tape of Renegade? Are you fucking kidding me? Colts, why? You needed this and you suddenly fell apart in the blink of an eye? Yes, the refs absolutely fucked you over with phantom calls, but where the hell is the secondary? Ben is suddenly back in his prime. Did he magically gain 20 pounds and his skills back as well? Hell, if I could argue otherwise, because the Steelers' offense went back in time a few years. The AFC North is theirs, albeit a few weeks late. They didn't need it, technically, but they did to potentially silence doubters. Indy, though, they're as trustworthy now as Phillip Rivers did not force passes in crunch time. They are now on the outside looking in for the playoff race. You're gonna blow this, aren't you?
You blew it. Fish.
The football team, despite all odds, has a chance to secure Tank Division with a win against Carolina. You didn't expect it would end this easily, did you? Carolina may have had some heartbreaking losses, but they played tough until the end. They will do everything in their power to stop Washington's chances of securing playoffs with tight defense and suffocating grip. Although that could be more to do with name-redacted's QB. Dwayne Haskins is fucking trash in disguise as a top pick. Terrible decision-making and reading defensive schemes. Allegations of immaturity and laziness in football circles. Talking shit his ass can't even come close to cashing. It says something when every quarterback besides him is doing significantly better with the same weapons. This game may have sealed his fate in the Hall of NFL Draft Busts. He was so bad he got benched for Taylor Heineke, a guy who was on their practice squad a week ago. And he also did a hell of a lot better than Haskins. You need Alex Smith back now. He's one of the only chances you have of winning next week. If it's Haskins again, might as well throw the white flag. Washington has had enough of him as well. A man who went from the hand-picked prize selection of Dan Snyder and Bruce Allen to a massive bust. When you can't outperform Taylor Heineke, you're done. He'll have plenty of time to visit strip clubs nowadays. He's been cut. And who the hell knows if he gets another look at the NFL level again. Remember when Snyder almost traded up to get him? That would have been hilarious back then and even more hilarious now. His actions alienated nearly every person away from him. And his arrogance only made things even worse for him in the end. He said the league messed up when he was drafted. Well, he was right. They did fuck up. And this swift fall grants him the honor of Lolcow of the Week. Maybe you can get in the XFL if you wait long enough. As Washington immolates, the NFC East is still anyone's division to take. It's how we'd all want Tank Division to unfold. One team survives for another week, the other faces long overdue elimination. In the land that is Dallas, they are still under the impression that they can still make a noise in the postseason. Jerry Boy will accept nothing less. For Philly, they're hoping to ride the wave of Hurts to a surprise surge. It's all good for them, but then you remember, oh yeah, their pass coverage is completely terrible. Doesn't matter what QB they have, and if you can't stop the likes of Cooper Gallup and CeeDee Lamb, you're gonna have a rough day. How about them Cowboys? They had free reign on the open terrain. Lawlessness in the air abound, and there are plenty of Eagles to shoot for their survival. With this loss, another season of agony is ending in Philadelphia. To think we thought they were free of it once they won that Super Bowl. In all honesty, they never left. Nothing to play for here besides bragging rights and job auditions for next season. For the NFL landscape, it means little, but to the players and coaches of both teams, a lot is potentially at stake. This game might be the difference between jobs and unemployment. Thus is why it's going to be close until the very end. That and Drew Lock can't stop turning the goddamn ball over after tantalizing us with his potential for a game. The Chargers have a 13-point lead, but... wait, that's not right. Hold up, let me fix this. And now we have a game on our hands. Signs would point to LA losing now, but... what's this? The Chargers not missing a fourth quarter field goal? They held on to win. Interesting. Just as interesting is the Broncos keeping Vic Fangio for another year. Only if ownership would ever realize that John Elway is the problem there. This game is for all the marbles in the NFC West. And it'd be a hell of a lot easier for the Rams if they won against the fucking Jets. So does the offense manage to snap out of their funk and get it together against another suspect defense? The answer there is no. LA's offense would stumble, and stumble, and stumble. Seattle's would too, so at least there's still a fighting chance for the Rams. It's standard fare for both teams. The Seahawks would fail to give their fans any respite against cardiac arrhythmia, and the Rams would be equally as offensive to consistency. Seattle, at least for their issues, managed to pull away in the end. They did what they had to do to get the win, and that should be respected. More so since they officially claim the NFC West and have a chance at the number 1 seed. How can this get worse for the Rams? Jared Goff has a broken thumb on his throwing hand. Dude popped it right back into place and kept playing. For next week, though, he might not be available. Buckle up, boys. This may get bumpy. Sunday night snow in Lambeau. It's the setting described in legends for many a generation. 2 heavyweights taking part in the festivities. There's only one problem the promoters did not foresee. The Titans are apparently allergic to snow. How can we hypothesize this? Because they were mopped on the floor all damn game. They had absolutely no answers for the Packers' offensive attack. They zoned in on King Henry and forced Tannehill to beat them with his arm. And he couldn't. For roughly the first time in a while, the Green Bay Packers beat the shit out of a legitimate contender. They got a bit of help from the refs in this one, but let's be real, Tennessee was probably losing this game regardless. And as for the Titans, they still haven't clinched anything. The game against Houston is still paramount for not only the division, but playoff hopes entirely. Miami is in the background cheering this revelation. The mantle of AFC East overlord has been long removed from the head of the Patriot Empire. Today was merely a ceremonial procession. You expected decorum and class with a new recipient? Not with all the years Brady and Belichick tormented everyone. They're going to relish in this. A swift beatdown would be the only thing anyone sees. And the Bills will not stop until their former bully is lying in a pool of his own blood and what was left of his body. It was as if there was endless cheering from the rest of the NFL on this night. The Patriots suffered the effects of a devastating defeat. And a new evil empire will most likely emerge from its husk. But who will take the mantle? Maybe it's Buffalo. They have the tools for prolonged success. This game showed it. Now will it convert to the postseason? Signs point to probably. You see what they did? That is years of repressed anger. Not much was settled this week, but things got much more interesting as a result in the playoff race. The AFC South is still up for grabs as both teams lost. The Titans are still winning in, but the Colts can claim with a win in Tennessee loss. Wild cards? Different story. All teams control their own destinies besides Indianapolis. They're going to need help with one of the above teams losing to claim a spot. Even the Titans can claim one of these spots with a few combinations. Tank division is less complicated. Washington is still winning in, but the Giants and Cowboys play each other. The winner of that game and a loss from name redacted will grant them Tank division crown. The number 1 seed in the NFC is all but locked up with a Packers win, but the Seahawks can get it with a win in Green Bay and New Orleans losses. If Green Bay loses and the Saints and Seattle win, New Orleans gets it. The remaining NFC wildcard spots are now controlled by the Rams and Bears. The Cardinals will need a win to get in. If the Bears and Cards win, the Rams are out. It's so many different combos it can't be spared for another moment. And as always,
don't get eliminated!
I know I butcher this saying every week. I don't care.
Unit lost. 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 Unit lost.
The football gods seem not to care either, as it always shall be.
Holmes fired, intercepted Aluakon at the goal line. Foye Aluakon still on his feet, breaks a tackle. Aluakon's got blockers, and he's got speed to midfield. He fumbles.